All right. Just waiting here for this to go live on Facebook. How's everybody doing tonight? So, if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, let me know. I would greatly appreciate it. I'm going to go in the comments here and just highlight and tag a few people, and we'll get started. Let's see here. Just want to tag some more people. How's everybody doing tonight? All right, give me a second here. I don't know if we'll have anybody in here. Sometimes Facebook is hit and miss, but we'll see if we get anyone in here. We're going to be talking about blood pressure tonight. It's one of the leading signs or symptoms of insulin resistance, which is what I'm always talking about. But going to talk about blood pressure. It's something that is near and dear to me that I struggled with for a lot of years. So, yeah. So, if you happen in on this live or if you're watching the replay later on, let me know. We'll greatly appreciate it, and we will try to get back with you if you have questions. So I'm going to get started. This isn't going to be very long, maybe 20 minutes, but we're talking about blood pressure tonight. For 20 years, I had high blood pressure, averaged on 25 milligrams of lisinopril. My blood pressure was averaging 165 over 100. And that ended up throwing me into stage 1 kidney failure. I was also type 2 diabetic, so I was dealing with a lot of things. If you're coming into the live, just say hi. Let me know where you're watching from. That would be great. And let me know if you're on Facebook or YouTube. I would greatly appreciate it. So let's talk about high blood pressure. If you're dealing with high blood pressure or stubborn weight, you're in the right place. These two are not separate problems. Most doctors treat them that way, but these two problems are kind of like best friends, right? So if you're dealing with high blood pressure, or if you have in the past, or if you know someone struggling with high blood pressure, just drop BP in the comments. I'm going to tell you what the problem is, how you can fix it naturally, and if fixing it naturally seems daunting to you, I'll let you know of a couple of products that myself and so many others use to make it so much easier. Okay. So high blood pressure isn't just about salt or stress. That's one thing that a lot of people think. I have a lot of stress in my life, a lot of anxiety. That's probably why my blood pressure's high. Or I consume a lot of salt. So it says we got 7 people watching. Let me know in the comments. Just say hi so I know who's in here. One of the most overlooked things is the root cause core problem, and that is insulin resistance. When insulin is high, your blood vessels tighten. They become less elastic, right? Your blood vessels are designed to dilate, so your circulation is better. But if you're insulin resistant, that inhibits the production of nitric oxide. You see a lot of nitric oxide supplements on the market today. Okay. Most people don't understand that their body makes nitric oxide naturally. But if your insulin is chronically elevated, it inhibits the production of that. What nitric oxide does is it helps your blood vessels vasodilate, open up, instead of being constricted. And when this happens, your kidneys tend to hold on to sodium, right? And your body thinks it's always in storage mode if your insulin is high. So this is why you can take meds for years like I did and never see long-term results. I started out on 10 milligrams of lisinopril, then it went up to 15, then it went to 20, and then at the end, it was 25 milligrams a day. And that medication, years of type 2 diabetes, metformin, high blood pressure led me to stage 1 kidney failure. If people are commenting or putting things in the chat, I'm not seeing it. Maybe you're not commenting. But so because of this, and this is why taking the medication is never going to reverse the problem, because you're just chasing the symptom. You're chasing the high blood pressure number. You have to get to the root cause core problem. You have to bring your insulin levels down and live at a state of insulin sensitivity for your blood pressure to come back to normal. So most people go years treating blood pressure like it's a plumbing problem in your house, right? You have a leak, you go, Band-Aid it up, you cut the line, fix it, whatever. But it's not the leaking pipe that's the problem in your body. It's the pressure that's the problem in your body. So people think if they don't have water pressure, right, go crank the pressure pump up on their water pump or their storage tank. Crank the pressure up to get more pressure. It's probably because you got lime built up in there, or you have hard water, or you have a lot of minerals in your water and it's starting to constrict your pipe. Think of it as a garden hose. If you leave a garden hose outside in the wintertime, it starts to freeze and the hose gets real tight and constricted, and you got this wee little stream coming out, but the pressure's real high. In the summer, when it lays out in the sun and it's real elastic and flexible, you got a solid, bigger stream coming out the end of that hose, if you don't have a nozzle on it, let's say. So that's how your blood vessels work. You want it to be dilated and have that thick, solid stream of blood flowing through it. But years of insulin resistance, it just doesn't happen. So here's the problem. Let's give like a story. You eat a lot of processed foods and carbs for years and years. Maybe you've been told to eat 5 to 6 small meals a day, snack, keep your metabolism up. What happens is this: every time you eat, your pancreas releases insulin to keep the blood sugar down. But if you're snacking and eating all day long, this becomes your new normal of insulin. And then this, until the cells don't respond anymore. So your insulin keeps rising, your blood vessels keep stiffening. Your kidneys start holding on to water and sodium. So you start to have kidney problems, frequent urination, waking up through the night, going to the bathroom. Your heart starts to pump harder and harder because now you've got all this fluid retention and chronic inflammation, and your blood pressure just keeps climbing up, right? So just understand, if you want to bring those blood pressure numbers down, you got to get your insulin down. Okay. So here are some signs of insulin resistance. Now, it says my battery's low. I need to plug in my laptop real quick. I didn't even realize that the battery was going low. Give me just a second, and we'll talk about these signs of insulin resistance. We can even go through them while I'm talking about this. One of the biggest signs of insulin resistance is you got a big belly, a lot of belly fat, right? If your waist, the circumference of your waist is more than you are inches tall, you're insulin resistant, okay? Another sign is cravings, especially right after you eat. If you're still hungry right after a meal, that's a good sign of insulin resistance. If you're tired all the time, especially after you eat a big meal, you feel like you just need to lay down and take a nap. Let me make sure this is plugged in here. There we go. Now the brightness came back and everything. So if you have constant fatigue, if you're dealing with brain fog, how many people deal with that brain fog? You forget where you left your keys, your glasses, your spouse's phone number, blah, 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 right? You're dealing with that kind of, how many people have walked in a room for a purpose and you forgot why you walked in there when you get in there? Okay. understand that that all leads to Alzheimer's and dementia down the road. Dark skin pigmentation, neck, armpits, groin, frequent urination, like I was talking, waking up through the night, going to the bathroom, sleep issues, you're tossing and turning. Maybe you're getting up through the night to go to the bathroom. How about high triglycerides? High triglycerides are a bigger risk factor actually than cholesterol for heart disease. Now that I plugged my laptop in, all these pop-ups keep coming up. Sorry about that, folks. So let's go through those again. Belly fat, cravings, even after a meal, fatigue, brain fog, dark skin pigmentation, frequent urination, sleep issues, high cholesterol, high triglycerides. Those are all signs of insulin resistance. And it also shows up as high blood pressure. Okay. So how many of these we just rattled off? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 symptoms or signs of insulin resistance. How many of those kind of resonate with people? How many people are dealing with any of those? If you are, you're probably insulin resistant, right? And that's leading to or causing your high blood pressure. So let's go through this a little more clearly. What's actually happening in your body? You see, when we eat, it elicits a blood sugar response. That signals our pancreas to release insulin. Insulin's job is to shuttle that glucose to our cells to be burned for energy. But if you do this multiple times, let's say 4, 5, 6 times a day, every day, day after day, month after month, year after year, your cells stop responding. Chronically high insulin turns into sticky blood vessels or tightening blood vessels, causes inflammation. Arteries become less flexible. Your kidneys respond to this as dehydration, even though you're not dehydrated. People think because they drink a lot of water that they're hydrated. But if you're insulin resistant, that hydration isn't actually getting into your cells either. All right. The result of this is all chronically high blood pressure that never budges. You can take medication to manage it and to keep it from stroke range, but you're never going to reverse it with the medication. The only way you're going to reverse it is lifestyle changes. Okay. I need a drink real quick. Now, insulin is supposed to be like a visitor in our body. It shows up when we eat food, shuttles the glucose where it needs to go, and then the insulin comes back down. Okay. But if you eat and you have cravings and 2 hours later you're hungry and you eat again, that just keeps that insulin climbing up higher and higher and higher. So conventional medicine treats this with ACE inhibitors, beta blockers, diuretics. I'm not saying these are bad. They're going to keep you out of the hospital. They're going to keep you from having a stroke or heart attack or whatever, but they're never going to fix the problem of insulin. There's only a few ways you can do that. How many people in here right now are on one or more medications for high blood pressure? You're taking the meds that you do have one or more times a day. I'm going to tell you how you can lower your insulin levels and in turn bring your blood pressure into normal range. Quick story for me. 165 over 100, 125 milligrams of lisinopril constantly, right? I even had been rushed to the hospital a couple times. One time my heart was racing so hard they had to give me a nitro pill to get my heart to stop racing and my blood pressure to come down. They thought I was going to have a heart attack. It was very elevated in stroke range. Okay. So one of the ways you can start to bring, well, we'll just go through 5 or 6 of them. Start to bring your insulin down naturally. Stop eating so often. You got to quit putting food in your mouth every couple of hours, even if you think it's healthy. It is eliciting a blood sugar response, and therefore your pancreas pumps out insulin. Okay. So If you can't do intermittent fasting, which is what I recommend, skipping one meal a day like breakfast, if you can't do that, at least cut out the snacks between your meals. That's going to take you down to eating 3 times a day instead of 4, 5, 6 times a day. So stop eating so often. Lower the sugar and refined carbohydrates. All that excess sugar, all them carbs turn to sugar in your blood. Your pancreas is just flooding the system with insulin, okay? And it takes it so much longer to come down. Increase fiber with specifically before your meals. Front load your meals with fiber, salads, cruciferous vegetables, things like that, because fiber has been proven to slow the glucose absorption and some fats and some cholesterol. So if you want to lower cholesterol, triglycerides, you want to lower blood sugar, front load your meals with fiber. One, it's going to keep you from overeating because fiber is satiating, fills you up. Two, it coats the lining of your stomach, coats the food we eat, slows the absorption of that stuff into your bloodstream. Start walking after your meals, 10 to 15 minutes. If you're just starting out, walk 5 minutes that way. I don't care if it's the end of your driveway and 5 minutes back. Do some body weight squats or do some calf raises sitting in a chair if you can't walk or squat. Do something to pump your muscles to soak up some of that glucose from your food. Hydrate, especially early in the day. One of my favorite things before I start sipping my yerba mate is I'll take 8 ounces of water with some either Celtic salt or electrolytes of some form and chug it down. Hey, Kent, how you doing, buddy? I'm not doing bad. I'm healing up a little bit. You can still see the scars from the skin cancer procedure, but hey, thanks, man. I'm doing good. Hope you're doing well. Okay, so hydrate early in the day. One, it's going to curb those cravings in the morning. Two, it's going to give you electrolytes and kind of help you get through the day. It's going to curb your cravings. And another thing is boost your mood especially in the morning by getting some sunlight. Now, I say that more sun exposure, but protect yourself. I've worked out in it for 30 plus years, hence the skin cancer in my mid 50s. Okay, so protect yourself. Wear hats, wear sunscreen, something. But sun exposure, in small increments is great for our health and our mood. Okay, these small changes are going to lower the insulin load, lower the blood sugar spikes. It's going to relax your blood vessels, and it's going to help your blood pressure come down naturally. Now, if those things that I just talked about sound daunting to you, I do use a couple of all natural plant-based products to make all this easier. Before I go into those, though, does anybody have questions? You want to talk about symptoms, diet, cravings, anything, put it in the comments. Year I had that skin cancer done a few years ago. Lucky I had private medical insurance. It was like $5,000 in New Zealand. I've got pretty good health insurance through the company I work with. In fact, I haven't even seen a bill yet. I just pay a copay when I go in. So we'll see. Hey, Sandy, how are you? So I'm sure it's not been cheap. I've already had one done here, one cut out here. These two, I still have one here and one on top of my head that they have to see too. And now I have to go back every 6 months to have a full body skin check. So is what it is. All right. So if nobody has any questions, I'm going to tell you exactly what I did. First, I started intermittent fasting. For me, it was easier to skip breakfast. Okay. I cut out the snacks. So I only eat 2 meals a day. I prioritize fiber and protein. So I'm very satiated, and healthy fats. I keep my carbohydrates low, especially at lunchtime. Now, in the evening, at my dinner time, I will have pizza occasionally. I will have pasta occasionally. I try to be good about those choices, but I always front load my meal with fiber. Now, at times, fiber isn't real. William, go back to the waist circumference again. So if you measure around your navel, the biggest part of your belly, and you times that by 2, if it is more than you are inches tall, you're insulin resistant. Okay. Another way you can tell is if you have recent blood work and they didn't do a fasting insulin test on you, but you have a triglycerides and you have an HDL cholesterol on your lipid panel. Take your triglycerides, divide it by your HDL. You want that number to be 1.5 or lower. If you're over that, you're insulin resistant. And it's going to start leading to a whole host of problems. Okay. And I can show you real quick what some of those problems are. Okay. So obesity, diabetes, some forms of the C word, PCOS and erectile dysfunction, non-alcoholic fatty liver, heart disease, high blood pressure, Alzheimer's and dementia, migraine headaches, joint pain, inflammation. I already said erectile dysfunction, neuropathy, which was something else I really struggled with. Okay. And there's a whole host of other things, Hashimoto's, IBS, just so many things that are related to this one main root cause right here, insulin resistance. Okay. So I'll leave that up. I don't know why this thing won't go away over top of it. But anyway, so I started doing time-based eating or intermittent fasting, and I implemented 2 natural products. One is a yerba mate tea, full chlorogenic acid, theobromine, antioxidants, monosaponins, and vitamins and minerals. This helps regulate your blood pressure, whether it tends to be high or low. It also enhances your mood. Theobromine is very good at that. Chlorogenic acid also helps with energy, and it helps with glucose, blood sugar numbers. It's all natural. It's plant-based. Yerba mate is a plant that grows in South America, right? So we sip that in the morning in place of our breakfast. And we sip it, anywhere from an hour to 2. We try to stretch it out, make it last. It's great for, cognitive brain function, mood, energy, all those sorts of things. But it increases ketone production. So if you're trying to lose weight, it also increases the hormone GLP-1, which helps with satiety, helps you lose weight. So we sip on that in place of breakfast. Lunch, we break our fast. We're trying to prioritize fiber, protein, healthy fats. Early afternoon, we make a second yerba mate. We sip it through, a couple hours in the afternoon. And then right before our largest or carb heaviest meal, we put a diverse blend of plant fibers in front of that meal that we mix in 8 ounces of cold water and we chug it down. Okay. It's both soluble and insoluble. So that's a big deal. That helps coat the food we eat and slow down the gut absorption. It helps you stay fuller for longer. All those things we were talking about, the benefits of fiber. So if you struggle getting fiber, most of us aren't even getting half the recommended daily amount of fiber that we should get. You can drink it before your meal. It tastes good. It comes in orange or mixed berry flavor. It's delicious. Tastes better than broccoli. Tastes better than Brussels sprouts and asparagus. So to me, it's a game changer. And then I just start fasting again after dinner. So these 2 natural products they have 5 patents on them. They cannot be copied. You will not see them in stores. Yes, you can buy it on Amazon. It's being sold through third party illegally. It's not supposed to be sold in any stores like that. You're going to way overpay if you buy it there. The best way to get it is through a distributor or mentor link, which is what I am, because I reversed my type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, stage 1 kidney failure, neuropathy, and lost over 70 pounds. When this worked for me, I said I was going to tell anybody who would listen. So I have a discount link in my profile. I think I have a QR code that I can put on the screen right here. If anybody wants to just screenshot this, you can screenshot that QR code right here, and that will take you to the manufacturer's website where you can get it at the same price I pay. They're patented. They're clinically tested, more than 20 clinical studies. They're safe and natural. There are no medications in them. They're proven to work. In fact, they're guaranteed to work. Anybody who buys this protocol gets a 90-day, no question asked, money back guarantee. If you track your progress and your consistency with the fasting app, it's a free fasting app. And if you're consistent with that, tracking using the products, and you don't see results, you can get all your money back. I've never had any doctor, dietitian, specialist, pharmacist ever offer me my money back when whatever they told me to do didn't work. So it's guaranteed to work. It's HSA and FSA qualified. So if you have either of those through your employer or your insurance, you can use that to pay for this. It's available in over 60 countries now, I think, around the world. So if this didn't work, it wouldn't be available in 60 countries around the world, right? There's so many testimonies of people using this and having amazing results. But it's very good. In fact, after being on blood pressure meds for 20 years, the doctor who I'd seen throughout that time, that had been my doctor most of my adult life, or at least half of my adult life, that put me on these meds, in 30 days took me off of that blood pressure medicine. She said, her words, not mine, whatever you're doing, keep doing, because your blood pressure is perfect. In fact, I'm afraid it's going to drop too low. We need to take you off this blood pressure meds. 20 years on it, 30 days on this protocol, following this plan, off of blood pressure meds. Less than 6 months, I was off of diabetes medication that I'd been on for 20 years. In a year, my neuropathy was a thing of the past. So if you're struggling with any of these problems, give this a try. You'll get my personal phone number. You get my personal email. You get detailed instructions on how to take it. I check in with you periodically to see how things are going. I can get you plugged into our community if you want that kind of thing, to where you can stay in tune, learn tips other people are doing, recipes, those sorts of things. We have weekly science calls with medical professionals. So if you're like, I'm typically someone who listens to my doctor and you're just some dude on the internet, I get it. It's okay to be skeptical. There's a lot of things out there that are scams, but I'll just say this. I wouldn't give you my personal phone number, my personal email address, and keep in contact with you if I was trying to pull the wool over your eyes. This has been a game changer for me and thousands of other people I've helped. So if you want to try it, if you're struggling with any of these problems, specifically, cholesterol, triglycerides, blood pressure, weight, fatigue, low energy, inflammation, give this a try. Understand the medication that you're taking is never going to fix the problem. They're just a Band-Aid on a symptom. So if you want to use something natural that could possibly help you the way it did me, what if you got the results I got? What if it worked for you the way it has for me and so many others, and you get off your medication? What if you don't do this and 6 months down the road, things get worse? Like, what is your plan? To just take meds the rest of your life, or try something natural that's clinically proven to work, guaranteed to work, and it's safe and natural. So does anybody have any questions? I'll pop the chat back up here real quick, see if anybody has any questions. If not, I'm going to hop off here. Sandy says, best thing I've ever done. Hey, Miles, what's up? How are you? All right, folks. So I've done 2 lives. I just did a TikTok live before hopping on here, and then I did this one. So If anybody has any questions, or if you're watching this later on YouTube or Facebook, put replay in the comments. You can reach out to me, send me a message. I'd be happy to chat with you. All right, folks, have a good night. Take care.